So this is our last part of section 2. This one takes forever. I try to kind of squish it together, but for whatever reason, it always ends up taking like 4 days. So this is the last one. We're still going to do stuff with square roots after this section, but they're going to be different. Like we're going to add and subtract and do a few other things. They're not going to be quite as annoying as this. So today we are going to be rationalizing fractions. So. You can't even, it's right next to you. You can't even get it. Turn it off. Even if you weren't doing a lesson, I'd make you turn that off. Just for the shame of it. Turn it off. Or pause it at least. Okay. I'll turn it off for you. Don't bother me. Okay. So we are going to rationalize this fraction. So when we rationalize something, what we're doing is we are getting rid of any radicals or square roots in the denominator. So I don't want this square root 15 down here. I want to get rid of a square root. Here he is. Hello. Are you done? I'll get to grab my notes paper. Alright. So in order to rationalize this fraction, I don't want to actually change the value of it. I just want to rewrite it so there's no square root. So So if I had like a regular fraction, if I had a 1/2, and let's say I multiplied it by 2 over 2, and I got 2 over 4. They're still the same thing, right? 1/2 is still the same thing as 2 over 4. It's just written differently, right? So I want to do that same type of thing, where I don't actually change the value, I just want to write it. So to do that, what we're going to do is multiply by a fancy 1. Because if you multiply anything by 1, does it actually change?
Never.
No. So we're going to multiply it by a fancy 1, and that 1 is going to be the denominator over the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by square root of 15 over square root of 15. So this is a fancy 1. I like to call it. Because it's really just 1, right? So I'm not actually changing the value. Like if I were to turn this into a decimal, it'd still be exactly the same afterwards. We are just looking at some different, or we're going to simplify it a little bit now. Okay, and I think I'll start off by giving you guys just the shortcut. So I need to multiply numerator times numerator. I need to multiply the tops, and I need to multiply the bottom parts together. When I multiply my denominator, the reason I did square root 15 over square root 15, whenever you multiply exactly the same square roots together, they cancel each other out, and I'm left with just whatever's left. So square root of 15 times square root of 15 is 15. It's kind of like, okay, if I were to do it the long way, kind of like we did in our warm-up, if I multiply these together, I'm going to put them inside one big square root, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when I have a pair? It gets kicked out, right? And there's only one left. So I'm just giving you the shortcut when you multiply exactly the same square roots. If they're exactly the same, you just pick one and whatever's inside of it. That's it. You're done. Luis, turn it off, man.
Turn it off.
You're playing a game or something. Turn it off. Nobody just clicks the arrow keys and spacebar. And you're turned all sideways and nobody can see your screen. Like some creepy guy.
Wait, what is that fancy?
Yeah, you creep. Okay. So, on my denominator, it changes into just 15, which is great. That's what I wanted because I don't want any square roots down there. But I have to multiply my numerators together, and it's just like what we did yesterday, just like our warm-up. I have to go square root of 4 times square root of 15. Which is really square root of, let's see, 4 times 15 is 60. And after I multiply, I'm going to simplify. So help me out, Lily, what times what is 60?
6 and 10.
Yep, 6 times 10, right? But Luis, what's 6 really? What times what?
2 times 3.
2 times 3, right? Turn off your game, Luis.
Yeah,
I'm going to snatch up that Chromebook.
Oh, yes. Snatch up, bro.
And Kinsey, what's 10 really?
5 times 2.
5 times 2. And down.
Hey, I got you.
Get off YouTube. Alright, and then in here, what's going to get kicked out, Jace?
What?
What's going to get kicked out?
That's the 2.
2s are going to get kicked out, right? They're not next to each other, so that's fine. Alright, so a 2 got kicked out, and I've got, let's see, 3 times 2 is, no, excuse me, 3 times 5, which is 15 left over. This is my final answer. And be careful. I've got a 15 on the bottom, but I don't have 15 on the top. I have square root of 15. They have to be exactly the same for them to cancel out. So they're not going to cancel out now because there's no square root down here. So watch out for that. And that's it. So we're just going to practice rationalizing some more today. And that's all we're doing.
Just rational.
Yeah, just
So
rationalizing.
lucky.
Go
They can't stand.
Yes, I am,
Oh, yeah,
James.
okay.
Thanks.
No.
Alright, so let's look at part A down here.
Square root.
So I have square root 3 over square root 7. So I'm going to multiply by my fancy 1, which is square root 7 over square root 7. Yeah, Moses.
When it says rationalize, like, who's inside that box?
Get rid of any radicals or square roots. I'll put them up there. So when we rationalize, I don't care about the top part of my fraction. All I care about is the bottom part. I want to get rid of anything in the bottom part that has a square root in it.
Okay. Is this square root 21 or square root 7?
Got it, Moses?
Is this
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to do part A here. Square root 3 over square root 7. I'm going to rationalize by multiplying by square root 7 over square root 7. And we just need to go through and multiply the top parts together, multiply the bottom parts together. And let's see if you remember. Kinsey, what's square root 7 times square root 7?
Square root 21.
What?
21? Square root of 21, right? I don't know.
It's 7.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh.
Remember, when it's exactly the same and you multiply it together, square root 7 times square root of 7
Oh, I thought you were talking about
is 7. Oh no. Oh, yeah, that's the top. Yeah, you're right. That's the top part. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. We just had some communication errors there. Alright, so on the bottom, square root 7 times square root 7 is 7. On the top, square root 3 times square root 7 is square root of 21. And then we need to go through and simplify, but how can I split up 21? It's just 7 times 3, right? We gotta yawn that out, Jace. Does anything get kicked out on this one? No. Nothing gets kicked out, so I'm going to leave it like this as my final answer. Alright, let's do part B. So on part B, I have square root 7 over square root of 8n. Even though I have an n in my denominator, nothing changes. I'm still going to multiply by square root of 8n over square root of 8n. And we're going to multiply the top parts together, and we're going to multiply the bottom parts together. I like doing the bottom part first, though, because it's easier, because they're exactly the same. So, Alzea, what's my square root of 8n times square root of 8n?
8n.
Yep, just 8n. Nice and easy. Alright, but my numerators, though, it's going to be a little more work, so let's see. 7 times 8n is 56n. So I have square root of 56n on top. And I have to simplify that top part just like we've done for like a week and a half. So, Ruben, what times what's 56?
8 times 7.
Yep, 8 times 7. But 8 is really 4 times 2. 4 is really 2 times 2. And I still have an n here. Jace, what's going to get kicked out?
Oh, dang.
What? What's going to get kicked out?
2. My 7.
2's are going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Never.
Nope. A no.
Yeah.
Never is a
Yeah,
chance.
come on.
Alright, so we got a 2, got kicked out, and I have a, let's see, 7 times 2 is 14, and I've got this n left over just chilling. So 14 in. So, after I've done simplifying, I got 2 square root of 14n over 8n. And today's lesson isn't super tough, but it does get kind of annoying because what else can I do now that I've simplified the top?
Okay.
What do you think, Majak?
Huh?
What else can I do now that I simplified the top? Look at this fraction right here. What else can I do with it?
That's hot dog divided.
How about we reduce 2 over 8? What's 2 over 8 really? 1 over 4. So really,
That's what I meant.
this is a 1 square root of 14n, or just 14n,
I was
doesn't matter,
just working on it.
over 4n like this. So this can get kind of annoying because after I simplified, I had to simplify again. So that's kind of annoying, but it's not super difficult.
How
Just
do you know you gotta simplify?
so look at whatever numbers you have left. Like I got a 2 on the outside, and I got an 8 on the outside.
Like the Amigos did.
2 over 8 reduces, right? That's what you got to look for.
Have you seen
Stuff
Crash
that
Cookies?
reduces a long time ago.
Really good movie.
And
I
I was
suggest it.
impressed.
I
I'm not
really
gonna lie.
like the
I was a
way-
little disappointed.
Why?
Oh my
It
god.
wasn't that good.
It would be better if it would
Mediocre.
go that.
I'm in an oven.
It would have made the movie better.
It might have actually.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
All right, let's. You guys want to do another one together, or you want to do one on your own?
Huh?
What on our own? Let's do this.
All right, I want you to do part B.
If I wasn't paying attention, I get this. You guys are all fools. You know.
All right, we're gonna skip A. Do part B on your own, then we'll check it.
Goki, it's pretty hot in here.
Yeah, man. It's true. Probably
Take
should
off
wear a sweatshirt.
open a window.
Middle of May.
Goki, open the window.
Oh man.
No, man.
Louis.
Just like edit the
No,
ceiling.
man. No.
Can't say the rest now.
No.
Why not?
Because it's weird.
Well, I'm just saying it as a
Why don't you
breeze.
turn on your
Yeah,
fan?
it doesn't make it less weird.
You got like
Bro,
3
man.
fans.
No, it's not less weird that way.
It's weird.
Straight up, man.
Goki, you should turn on your fans.
So it's weird if I tell Luis, bro to bro, to.
Take off on your phone.
Anybody know whose keys these are?
Yeah, that's pretty big.
No.
Those look like
Yeah,
Dylan's.
Those are Dylan's.
Those are mine.
I swear that kid.
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
child.
leaving stuff. This baby Groot is an infant. He left his
Water bottle with me overnight.
little thicker than
Google says that if you play with a, if you're a teacher, you play with another person on Fortnite,
Don't play
it's considered
PC.
weird.
Goki.
What?
You play PC.
You almost
Uh-huh.
like beat it.
Goku is play.
No, man, that's weird.
I play on my older brother's account, so it won't be weird.
That doesn't make it not weird. That actually makes it weirder because you're trying to be sneaky.
I'd like to see a reason why it's weird.
Because it's not so weird. Why are you messing with my guy?
Wait, can you get in trouble like if you play Fortnite?
stuff. No.
Oh, is it heavy enough? You have to hold it.
Goku's, I don't play with noobs.
His cousin can't play.
Hey, Golki, is your name on
Watch
games that you like
No.
on his YouTube channel?
I killed Goki.
Or is that just Clash Royale?
Goki, why would it be?
Did you kill Danger Goku?
It's not okay. It's not appropriate. It's kind of creepy.
How is it?
I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of creepy.
Have you killed Ninja
It's
yet?
only creepy if you make it creepy.
Yeah,
No.
you embraced
It's
it.
it's already been made creepy.
It's like making
By, like,
a connection with your
everywhere.
student.
play
I like making connections.
Yeah, at school, if I like got a chess app and played with you outside of school, it'd be weird.
Why? It's like you're making a connection with your
What if we
student.
just like set up our PS4s here?
Friendship.
That would be okay if we
We're
were
gonna be
here.
with you for
What if I bring my
four more
Xbox One because I
years.
can play PC people with it?
That would be okay here. Like if we had like a game night where we've done that before. That would be fine if everybody did it, but not like
That sounds
Yeah,
after
if
school.
everybody just came over
That
at
sounds
night
cool.
after school,
I suggest we do that.
Let him talk to Henry. All right, give you one more minute to be in class. Then we're going over it.
And you just put it into the wall and you just-
That would not be creepy. Okay,
What?
let's totally have game night, bro.
No, man. Talk to Heinrich. I'm not in
You're
charge.
all playing with his keys.
No,
Trying to figure out
okay, we
what
don't
this is
have
like
to
here.
sleep over at your house. Me, you, Louise.
Yeah. No.
Brokey, I grabbed my clothes and I'm
No.
staying at your house.
See, this is why it gets weird. Stuff like that.
Oh my
I
god.
got
Do you
my
think they actually
PlayStation.
want to stay at your
No, what do
house,
you got going on
Cookie?
I hope not.
I
Really hope not.
Hey Goki, this is all recorded too.
30 more seconds. I know. I'm gonna show this to your parents.
Is it
Be like,
Oh my
Yeah,
kids are
it's
weird.
Yeah, so much. Oh my god.
Wait, Goki, I didn't get a chance to do it.
I hear
Okay,
I didn't
right?
do that either. I was talking about how
Yeah, I know.
that, my teacher's out.
30 more
I
seconds.
want to hear Jason's cute voice.
Shut up.
Throw a mic. It's the cutest.
I'm throwing creepy at you.
Please do it. I'll swallow it.
Yeah, but you forgot to kick out the trees. So really, there's a 3 in front.
Oh, wait,
Holy-
Oh, okay. So right here, you have a 5 times 2 left, so it's 10.
I would.
There we go.
You just do it like the regular one?
Oh my god.
Alright. I'll give you a little more time. 30 more seconds.
That's a little more time.
I don't know how. I'm just copying everything.
Oh, what's 18 times?
Ah, donkey, you snatched
Why is this all worn?
because we put it in my shirt.
It was on his back.
It's on my
That's
back.
multiply.
How weird is that?
Quadrupleize.
Yeah, 5 and
It's okay, Goki.
He's all.
I washed my hands.
You didn't wash your back.
Alright, we're getting started.
No!
This.
I'm almost finished.
90
I think it's how you do it.
Because it's 5 times 18.
Yeah, Moses. Allow simple B.
Check the back.
And then you're gonna simplify 90m. So you're gonna take it apart to
Alright, we're getting started on this. Beto, start us off. What are we gonna do on this one? Part B. Multiply.
Times.
By square root of 18m over square root of 18m, right? Magi, what do I get in my denominator after I go through and multiply it? Magi.
How do you get your denominator?
Yeah, what do I get when I multiply the denominators?
Oh, you get 90 to the 20.
Denominators, not numerators. The bottom.
Oh, I didn't.
Speak English.
What do you get?
What?
On the bottom part of the fraction,
Now I
what do
know
you
how to
get?
do it.
18m.
Yep. Alright, and the numerator, the top part, was square root of 90m. Alright, let's keep going. Lily, what did you get when you simplified the 90m?
I got 3 times 3 times 5 times 2.
Okay. Which, when you kick stuff out, what did you have?
3 on the outside.
Yep.
10 over 18.
Perfect. Alright, and we have one last thing we gotta do. What's the last thing we gotta do, Moses?
Reduce it.
What do we get when we reduce?
1 and 6.
Are we doing this on every problem?
Yeah. Some of them are easy, though. They're not all this hard.
Because I didn't even do that.
Moving.
What'd you get? You get
I
this
just
one?
got that.
That's fine. You're not wrong. You just have one more step. This was a test you'd lose like half a point out of 4.
So are we doing it on every single
Yes.
problem?
Well, no. Like, check every problem, but it won't be every problem. Like, for example, the next one, your exit ticket, you can't reduce after you do it. So whatever you get after you finish multiplying will be your answer.
Seems like 5 and 6. You can't.
So we're just doing it only on the problems with one variable?
Only on problems that have numbers that can reduce. Like that was a 3 over 18, that reduces, right? If you have a 4 over 8, that reduces. But if you have like a 1 over 2, you can't do anything there. You're done. Alright, starting your exit ticket. Actually, if you want, Alizea, I can check your stuff over as you do it and help you see if you need to keep going or not.